stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Give me that. To the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Postgame Podcast. We are here with a postgame for the Pistons versus the Knicks. The Pistons fall by 1 point in a gut-wrenching, heartbreaking loss to the New York Knicks by a score of 94-93. Got some people in the building. Let's get to what Mr. My City's got to say. Had some technical difficulties. I was trying to go live earlier. We all know Cade was going to turn the ball over. Schroeder should have had the ball in his hands and let Cade work off ball. Seen this happen too many times to expect anything different. I'm assuming you're not referring to the last possession because Cade did get a shot up. He just wasn't able to get it to fall. Tobias Harris fought for the rebound. The ball squeaks somehow to Tim Hardaway in the corner. He has enough time to pump fake. Josh Hart appears to jump into him, and Hardaway is not able to get away the attempt. So the Pistons lose the ball game. Why have a ball handler if he's not going to handle the ball in the clutch? Yeah, I mean, you still want to put the ball in the hands of your best player. I don't think anybody is concerned with if Dennis Schroeder is going to take that last shot. You got to give it to it. You got to let a guy like Cade, who has the ability to pass and score in the final minutes. That's why you pay him all that money. Mr. Monson, there was no milk the clock, no slow it down, no set up the offense, just go, go, go. I'm so effing irritated. Yeah. Not the last play, right before that. Yeah. No, I agree. You're right about that. I mean, yeah, hindsight is 2020. Cade is the individual that got us there. He just wasn't able to get it happen when we needed it the most. And yeah. But let's talk about the game in its entirety. The Pistons got off to a very slow start in the first half. We had 10 turnovers, I believe, in the first. Yeah, 10 turnovers in the first half. We missed our first 10 shots from three. There was no flow in the offense. We often took a really long time to get to the point that we were attacking. We had numerous shot clock violations or just grenades at the end of the shot clock. And it really put us in a tough spot going into the second half. Beasley, though, finally, yeah. It wasn't until the second half, though. Beasley started very, very slow. Mr. Miles said, "You're going to be a tough hole to climb out of for real." I don't know, man. Yeah. We're now down 3-1 going back to New York. And historically, the team that wins, that starts the series at 3-1 wins 95% of the time. So I'd venture to say it will be a miracle for us to climb out of that hole. The Knicks got off to a very strong start in the first half. Towns and Brunson combined for 25 points in the first half. Towns had 13, Brunson had 12. Neither team shot very well from the field. Both teams shot, I want to say the Pistons shot 33%, and I want to say the Knicks shot maybe a little bit better, but they did hit more. They did hit a couple threes. I think they hit 6 threes, and the Pistons went 1 for 14. I think they shot 12% from three. Very difficult to bounce back from that, but we did. Mr. My City says, was really hoping to foul Cat out. Yeah. So yeah, let's get to that. The Pistons come out in the second half, very energetic, a major uptick in their defensive intensity, led by Cade and Tobias. Tobias had an amazing bounce back performance in this game. Let's pull up the box score here. But yeah, Tobias was very well. It was one of the main factors in us getting back in the second half, offensively and defensively. But he did have he did have some fouls early in the second half, which took him out of the game. Cat was also in foul trouble. He got four fouls first. Um, but he went a considerable amount of time without giving up that fifth foul. It wasn't until late in the fourth quarter that he gave up that fifth foul. And Tobias was the one that committed that fifth foul early on. It was actually a foul that was initially that went to somebody else, and then they changed it to Tobias. So Tobias was out for a lot of when the Pistons started to take off and take over that lead in the fourth quarter. We had to sit Tobias for as long as we could so that he didn't foul out. And that was huge. They did pull Towns once Tobias got that fifth, which gave them gave them a little bit of reinsurance. But the Pistons were actually able to take over in the second half, and it looked as if we were going to be we were in the driver's seat, especially after Brunson went out with that ankle injury. It was on a play where I want to say Schroeder got the steal on Brunson, and they kind of got tangled up, and Brunson rolled his ankle pretty bad. He went back to the locker. He went to the ground and had to scoot himself off the court, out of the field of play. And then he was carried off the field. He was carried off the court, went back to the locker room. They retaped him up, and Brunson had a very strong closeout to the game. Other key players in the game, Mikal Bridges, he only had 8 points, but he had 2 unbelievable fadeaway threes in the corner to narrow the Pistons' lead down. Like I said, once Brunson got back in the game, he made a ton of huge buckets. Towns had a couple tough shots as well. He hit a long 3, and then he made a fadeaway shot from behind the backboard. I mean, the announcer said that you probably won't see a tougher shot the rest of the day than the one that Towns made. And ultimately, the star power reigned supreme. Hardaway, it wasn't his best shooting night. He missed a ton of open threes, but he did hit a couple major shots down the stretch. Cade was pretty strong. He finished with a triple-double, 25, 10, and 10. How many did Tobias end up with? Tobias ended up with 18. He would have had a lot more, but like I said, he got into some foul trouble in the third quarter, which really hurt us. Schroeder didn't have a good game, but he did hit a big shot. But yeah, outside of that, Beasley, he had some big threes. He was another player that had some big threes down the stretch, but gave us nothing in the first half. He ended up having a solid game, but you would have liked to see two strong halves from him as opposed to one. Ultimately, we almost came away with a victory, but just too many big buckets from Towns and Brunson. We knew that they had more firepower, more star power, and we were going to need to get more efforts from our role players, and we just didn't get enough. Duren had 17 rebounds. Salute to him for that, but only 6 points. Yeah. Just not enough from Schroeder. This was his lone game where he didn't have a lot of offensive contributions, and too little too late for Beasley. He did what he could, but giving us anything in the first half would have got the job done. The Pistons fought hard, got back in the game, didn't fold when they really could have after starting very slow. But But yeah, just fell short. Not a whole lot that I can really, cling on to as, pivotal plays really. Obviously the game came down in the final as the game closed out. The Pistons did have the ball with I don't know how many seconds left. It was below the teens. It was like 12 seconds left. Cade had the ball in his hands. Well, one. Mr. My City said, we did turn the ball over. The possession before last, but when it's all said and done, we had an opportunity to get the job done on the last drive. Cade got the ball, got to the spot he wanted, had a mid-range shot at the elbow over OG Anunoby, wasn't able to get it to fall. Tobias Harris fights for the rebound, somehow gets the ball out to Tim Hardaway. He pump fakes. Josh Hart goes up for the shot. Makes a little bit of contact. I won't say it was just a blatant, just stone cold call. The refs obviously did not want to be the cause of the outcome of the game. Ultimately, Hart was able to contest well enough without making substantial contact to where Hardaway was not able to get that last shot away, and the Pistons lose. JB Biggerstack was not happy about the no call. Tobias Harris was not happy about the no call. And that is how the game concludes. Troy says if that was Brunson, they would have called that foul. I agree. It just wasn't blatant, in my opinion. I would have loved to have that call, but there just wasn't enough there. They said the team up 3-1 win series 95% of the time. Yeah, I spoke on that statistic earlier. 95% of the time, when one team is up 3-1, they win the series. And I would venture to say, if you got that in series where they have that game 5 at home, they probably win 100% of the time. Mr. My City says, I want to stay optimistic, but man, gotta be real. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow, and it's a very uphill battle at this point. I would have loved, like I said earlier, we knocked the series up at 2-2, heading back to New York, knowing that we have one game remaining regardless. Back in Detroit, we are in the driver's seat once again. We've played the Knicks very tough in Madison Square Garden, but we have zero momentum and just zero win in our sails at this point. The Knicks won both games at Little Caesars Arena. Can't happen. Just can't happen. Yet another game where we were up in the fourth quarter and we blew the lead. We were not able to limit, we were in control for a lot of that second half. Just a couple, ridiculous shots by Bridges and Towns put the Knicks in the position where they were, but smoked another lead in the fourth quarter. Good experience for our young guys, but can't lose 2 games at home. Absolutely not. Just can't happen. Ron Holland, not ready for the playoffs. Asar Thompson, great defensive player, just not ready for the playoffs. Got to remember, Asar missed a lot of the second half of last year, which was kind of a wash, and missed a lot of games. Missed like the first 15 games of this year. I don't know how many total games he's played, but he's probably hasn't played a full 82 game season. If not, maybe he's just now gotten to that point. Knicks are more experienced in late game playoff situations, and it's showing. Yeah, you got a guy like Brunson who's been the leader of the Knicks, and he's also got some playoff experience with Dallas as well as a young player. Towns is no stranger to the playoffs. Hart is no stranger to the playoffs. Even guys like McBride, who are young, got to experience the playoffs, I think, in both years that he's played. So, a lot more experience on their side, and it's shown. And, these are things that we're going to remember and look back on. Not that the series is over, because it's not over, but it's just not looking good for us right now. Let's get to a break. I probably won't go too much longer, but we've been rolling. All right. So yeah, looking forward. We have one game in New York and a possible return to LCA if we can find a way to win the ball game in Madison Square Garden, but that is not going to be an easy task. Anything can happen if it gets to Game 7. It's a complete wash, and winner takes all type situation if we can get to Game 7. This is very deflating, and it's going to be a tough. It's going to be a rough one. Want to see the sense of Mr. My City says, want to see the sense of urgency immediately. Game 5 immediately. Yeah, absolutely. Cannot get off to a slow start. There's just too much momentum going for New York, and they are going to the crowd. If you allow the crowd to get involved early on in the game, it's just going to be insurmountable. I just can't. Too much of an uphill battle if we get off to a slow start. We got up to a slow start today, and it hurt us. Once again, I want to commend the team for not folding in the second half after a rough start. They gave us every opportunity to win the ball game. We just fell a little short, but we can ill afford to, in an elimination game, start slow. Let's pull up the box score, see if there's any other anything else that we can pull out of this game before we get up out of here. Mitchell Robinson has been not much of a factor. He did have a couple offensive rebounds, but he only played 9 minutes today. Campaign played 7 minutes, but I would venture to say all of those minutes were in times where Brunson was hurt. Other than that, you don't see him. All right, let's look at the comparison. Let's look at the comparison between the two teams. The Pistons shot better from the field, 42% in comparison to 37%. The Knicks won the battle from behind the arc. They shot 45% from three. Brunson had some big threes. Towns had some big threes. Josh Hart hit some threes. The Pistons only shot 24% from three and still almost won that ball game. The Pistons shot much better from the free throw line. Mitchell Robinson, I do remember missing both free throws. But in overall, the Knicks only shot 61% from free throw line from the free throw line, and the Pistons shot 82%, which is what kept us in the ball game. Pistons out rebound the Knicks 40-26. The Knicks had 11 steals, which is not a surprise considering the Pistons had 17 turnovers to the New York's only 10. Got to take care of the ball better. And the Pistons dominate in the paint, 48 points in comparison to 32. Mr. My City says, take the crowd and the refs right out of it in the first half. We put up a great fight, not gonna lie. Still 1-3. No more moral victories, 2 losses by 2-1. Yeah. Gut-wrenching, tough, very deflating. If we can get out to an early lead and win a resounding factor in New York, that will be huge and will set up for a big game in LCA. I'm not going to hold you guys up, though. I just wanted to give you a recap of the game. Me and Coach should have a show tonight. That, as unfortunate as the game was today, the Pistons game was today. The Pistons, the Tigers were able to sweep the Baltimore Orioles, blanking them today, 7-0. Our ace on the bump. Amazing homestand for the Detroit Tigers, but me and Coach are gonna get to that a little bit later. It's gonna be a lot better spirits in the next hour once we get to that. In closing, the Pistons lose today 94-93 in a deflating, unfortunate loss to the New York Knicks, and now have to fight for the playoff lives in Madison Square Garden against the New York Knicks. Please subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, post-game podcast for all audio aggregators for Pistons coverage. It's your boy Foster Child. I'm out.